ओम सदाशिवसमारंभां शंकराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ओम पूर्णमत् पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। हरिः ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम। ओम नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्म विद्या संप्रदाय कर्तृभ्यो वंश ऋषिभ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः। We're looking at the third Vakya in the first Brahmanam of the second Brahmanam of the second chapter. See, in this Brahmanam, which is called Shishu Brahmanam, the Upanishad is pointing out what is prana. And what is prana, it has to point out because Brahman was given a secret name, Satyasya Satyam. And before that, one of the Satyam was said that Prana Vai Satyam, like that. Pranaha or all the Indriyas are Satyam, like that. It was already defined. So essentially, when Brahman is pointed out as Satyasya Satyam, it is Prananam Satyam. Means we have to now understand what is the meaning of this prana. Because the Dvaitins will be very happy if you say prana is Satyam, correct? Or anything is Satyam, they are going to be happy. So here it is trying to show in an indirect manner that the meaning for pranaha is not only the Mukhya prana and the Indriyas, but it also means the gross and the subtle body, the Karya Karana Sanghata, that was shown in the first Vakya itself here, when we saw that Adhanam, Pratyadhanam and all that, correct? How to know that prana is the Shishu with its abode. It is its special place in that abode. And then it's the Stunaha, correct? The pillar and the rope and all that. Then here, the glory of the prana was said in the third Vakya. In the second Vakya, if you see, again, this how this prana itself is worshipped by different devatas. Again, the glory of prana only was shown here in the second also. And again, to show the glory of this prana, Upanishad itself is quoting a Brahmana Vakya or a Vakya from the previous portion of the Shruti and giving a Vyakhyana for that also. It is giving some commentary on that because whatever it is quoting is very highly figurative. It's not very easy to directly understand, correct? This Arvag ilas chamasaha urdhva budnaha tasmin yasho nihitam vishwarupam tasya asata rishayaha saptatire vagashtami brahmana samvidaneti samvidana. Up to this is the quotation. So here the human head is compared with the chamasa patra, which is upside down, okay, which has a hole at the bottom and its bottom is on the top really, and the human head is the chamasa here, and in that chamas yashas is there, like that. This particular mantra is saying yashas means glory, you can say, or fame. And what is it that is so glorious which is there within this head? If you see, only all the indriyas are there, correct? 2 eyes, 2 ears, nostrils, tongue, etc. And the karmendriya tongue also is there. These are the things which can give you yashas. So in the context of a Soma Yajna, the analogy here is with the Somayaga actually, because the Chamasapatra is involved in a Somayaga. Within that Chamasapatra, the Soma itself is kept, and that Soma only then flows through that hole, and then it is given as a offering in fire. So the Somayaga is going to give yashas to the one, the Somayaji, who is going to do the Somayaga. And similarly, all these Indriyas which are there within this head, they are going to give you yashas. And that fame itself is nothing but really the fame of the prana only. And again, these Indriyas are compared with the Sapta Rishayaha also here. So tasya asata rishayaha sapta tire, on the sides, because on the head, sides of the head only, all these Indriya Golakas are there, within which the Indriyas are actually operating. So these 7 rishis are compared to those Indriya Golakas. And again, special mention is made of the Vak as a Karmendriya, because it is the one again which is very glorious, because it is the one which can chant the Veda also. So it is associated with the Veda, it is having a conversation with the Veda. So like that it was said. So all these Upanishads itself gave the commentary also for that. Based on that only even I was able to tell you whatever I told you now. Now next one we are going, where the Sapta Rishayaha, who are these 7 rishis? That is being enumerated here. So Imau eva Gotama Bharadwajau, Ayameva Gotamaha, Ayam Bharadwajaha. So here again, Imau, these 2 means the ears. The 2 ears are who? Who are they? Gautama and Bharadwaja, the 2 rishis. And amongst them, one is Gautama, another is Bharadwaja. Again, it depends on where you start, because Bhashyakara says you can take whichever way you want. Which is Gautama, which is Bharadwaja, and all, you don't have to fight. If you start with Gautama, then this is Bharadwaja, or if this is Gautama, this is Bharadwaja, like that. You can take whichever way you want. So the ears, the 2 ears are Gautama, Bharadwaja. Then what? Imau eva Vishwamitra Jamadagni. Ayameva Vishwamitraha, Ayam Jamadagnihi. Okay, so these 2 are Vishwamitra Jamadagni, 2 eyes. So the 2 eyes are Vishwamitra and Jamadagni. So this is Vishwamitra, this is Jamadagni, like that. Then Imau eva Vashishta Kashyapau. So Imau eva Vashishta Kashyapau. Ayameva Vashishtaha, Ayam Kashyapaha. Okay, again 2 nostrils are there. One is Vashishta, another is Kashyapa. Then finally, what? One more is there. Already Vak as Karmendriya has been already talked about in the previous Vakya, but now Vak as the Jnanendriya, the tasting tongue, is being talked about. So here Vageva Atrihi. So Vag is the Atri Maharishi, like that it is said here. Why? Again, Upanishad gives a explanation for that. Vachahi annamadyate attihi havai nama etad yad atrihi iti. So through the vak or tongue only, annamadyate, food is consumed. Okay, you eat the food. So eating is called atti, correct? At is the dhatu, at dhatu only atti, it becomes, means eat. So attirha vai nama etad atrihi iti. So the atti only, which is commonly known as eating, has now indirectly become attri, like that Upanishad is saying. So the one who eats only should have been called as attihi, but now it is called as atrihi. That is also paroksha or indirect. So paroksha priya ivahi devaha, like that we saw in the Aitareya Upanishad. So the devas are fond of indirect names. But here rishis are also having indirect names, we have to say. So now like this, the rishis, the Sapta rishis have been identified with the different indriyas which are there in the head, and this can be done as an upasana also. Okay, for one who is interested in moksha and one who is a mumukshu, of course these things are only like what Bhashyakara already said, correct? You are a traveler, you are interested to reach your destination, but on the way you are seeing many things on the roadside, like that only these things we have to take. Okay, so but the one who does this itself as an upasana, what is the phala? Sarvasya atta bhavati. Okay, sarvam asya annam bhavati evam veda. So the one who does upasana in this manner, that each and every golaka, the indriya in your head, are each rishis. For that person, what is the result? He becomes the enjoyer of everything. Sarvasya atta. Means what? Sarvamasya annam bhavati. Everything becomes food for him. Everything he is consuming means he never becomes a food for anybody. That also is implied. Bhashyakara will give a note there. So that is the result. That means what? This person enjoys. He has a lot of things to enjoy, including food. Nothing. He will not have any problem for obtaining food. Food is always available. There is no scarcity of food and enjoyment for this person. That is the result of this particular upasana. Now we will see the Bhashyakara, what he says quickly. Ke punahatasya chamasasya tira asata rishaya iti. So who are those rishis who are sitting by the sides of this chamasa patra? Means here the rishis are themselves the indriya golakas only. Now that is being said here. Okay, that's what is that? Imau eva Gautama Bharadwajau Karnau. So Bhashyakara only says they are the ears. It is not said here. But Bhashyakara says Gautama Bharadwajau Karnau. Ayam eva Gautamaha, Ayam Bharadwajaha, Dakshinascha, Uttarascha. So you can take Dakshina and Uttara. So left hand side, if you take as Gautama, right hand side is Bharadwaja, or the other way around also, he says. Viparyayena, other way also. If you start here as Gautama, this will become Bharadwaja then. So whichever way you want, you can take. Similarly, what Tata Chakshushi. Chakshushi is again dual case. Okay. Upadishan Uvacha. So with reference to the two eyes, it is now teaching you what does it say? Imau eva Vishwamitra Jamadagni Dakshinam Vishwamitra Uttaram Jamadagnihi Viparyenava. Okay, so you can either take left is Vishwamitra and right is Jamadagni, or the other way around. The two eyes, with reference to the two eyes, these are the two rishis. Then Imau eva Vashishta Kashyapau Nasike Upadishan Uvacha. So with reference to the two nostrils, the Upadesha is given here by the Upanishad. Again here the left nostril is Putaha Bhavati, Vashishtaha, Uttaraha, Kashyapaha. So the Vashishta is the one who is there. You can take as the left, and then Kashyapa is there on the right. Okay. So like this, these two nostrils. Then what? Vageva Atrihi Adana Kriya Yogat Saptamaha. So here the Vak as the tongue as the tasting Indriya, Jnanendriya is talked about, because already the Vag is the eighth one, as the Karmendriya was already talked about, the speaking Indriya. So here Vak is called Atri because Adana Kriya Yoga, because it is the one which can do the eating, okay, and tasting while eating. Vachahi annam adyate, with the tongue only you eat your food. Tasmad attihi hi vai prasiddham nama etat. So the tongue is known as atti, very popularly known as atti, because the at dhatu is for eating, correct? So this name is very popular, Atti, and then Atritvad Attihi iti. So Bhashyakara is giving how this Atti Vyutpatti came, how the word Atti has come, Atritvat, because of eating. So because it eats, Trich Pratyaya is using, that's all, different Pratyayas. So Attihi eva san, yad Atrihi iti uchyate parokshena. So the one which is Atti, the one who is the eater, only is known as Atri also, which is an indirect name. The Atti has become Atri. So then what? The Upasana Phala. If you do a Upasana based on all these things, what is the Phala? So Sarvasya etasya annajatasya pranasya Atri nirvachana vijnanat atta bhavati. Okay, so now Bhashyakara is trying to connect the Upasana Phala with the actual Upasana itself. So here the one who knows this Indriya as Atri means the Atri Nirvachana. The word Atri, how do you understand? You understand Atri as the one who eats everything. And who is the one who eats everything? The one who, the prana alone, correct? Because whatever you eat goes to the prana. So really it is a prana upasana only. So everything which is born out of this anna, it is all going to the prana only. Whatever food you eat, all the nutrients go to the prana, and then prana alone is distributing it to all the other indriyas. That is why they are dependent on the prana. So prana itself is now known as the atta, the one who eats everything, because it has got the name Atri. Therefore what? Attaiva bhavati na amushmin na anyena punaha pratyadyate iti etad uktam bhavati. So that means what? Like prana is the one which always eats only, correct? Attaiva bhavati. So you become only the consumer or the eater. Na anyena punaha pratyadyate. You do not become eaten by anybody, or you do not become consumed, or you do not become an anna for anyone, correct? So you only become an atta, you are not eaten. So that is what is pointed out here by saying sarvasya annam bhavati iti, sarvam asya annam bhavati iti. So everything becomes this person's annam by saying that what? This person is always only eating. He will never become an object of somebody else's consumption. So like this is the phala, because the prana also is like that, because the upasana phala is always in keeping with the upasana and the upasya. Some quality of the upasya only you do upasana, and that quality alone the one who does the upasana also gains. So that's how the connection Bhashyakara is trying to show here. So evam etad yathoktam pranayatatmyam veda sa evam madhyamaha pranaha bhutva adhana pratyadhana gataha bhoktaiva bhavati. So how does he become only the atta? Bhashyakara explains that also. So the one who does upasana like this and gains prana yatatmya, okay, one who identifies himself with prana as the atta. So once you have an identity like that, then that person himself becomes the madhyamaha prana. He becomes the prana in the body, okay, and he is the one who is actually who is occupying both this body and the special place, which is the head, correct? That is the adhana and pratyadhana. Becoming like that, being the prana, becomes the bhokta, because prana is only bhokta, and he is never a bhojya, na bhojyam. So bhokta eva bhavati na bhojyam. He only is the bhokta. Na bhojyam means what? Bhojya vyavartata iti. That means he is something different from anything which is consumed. He is only the consumer. He is never consumed. He doesn't belong to the category of consumed. Like that we have to understand. He says that is the upasana phala. So again, this is the end of the Shishu Brahmanam. The important point in the Shishu Brahmanam has already been conveyed in the first mantra itself. Basically, here we have to understand that prana is the Shishu with all these four characteristics. Means prana is the Stula Sukshma Sharira. The meaning of prana is not only Pancha Prana and all the Indriyas, but it is also prana means the Stula Sukshma Sharira itself. So that was shown by the Shishu, by giving the name Shishu to the prana. Rest of the things are all different Upanishad for the prana only. Okay, different secret names for prana, and then again the subsequent, all these things have been discussed already. Now we are entering the third Brahmana, where Bhashyakara is giving an introduction. So here he says, Tatra prana vai satyam iti uktam. So originally prana vai satyam was said at the end of the first chapter itself. And then what? Yaha prananam upanishadaha taha brahma upanishad prasangena vyakyataha. Okay, what are all the secret names of the prana? They were also now described along with the secret name of Brahman. Brahman was given the secret name Satyasya Satyam. Then prana's secret name and all we saw, Shishu, etc. Okay, so that also we have seen. All those things have been discussed, explained. So etete pranaha iti cha. So these are all the pranas, all this. But then what? Te kimatmakaha katam va tesham satyatvam iti cha vaktavyam. So what is the nature of this body mind sense complex, this Stula Sukshma Sharira? Karya Karna Sanghata is prana means. What is the nature of that? Because you are using the word Satyam along with that, correct? To indicate this body mind sense complex, the word Satyam has been used. That's why Satyasya Satyam is there. That is a problematic usage. Now Upanishad only has to come and say how you can use this word Satyam. Can we take the regular meaning for Satyam as reality and all that? Means no. Upanishad is going to give a totally different meaning for that. It will say Sat and Tyat becomes Satyam. Is that clear? So what is Sat? What is Tyat? Also we have to see. In fact, it is not only in this Upanishad. This Sat and Tyat is used even in Taittiriya Upanishad. Sat Chatyatcha Bhavat Niruktancha Niruktancha Nilayanancha Nilayanancha Vijnanancha Vijnanancha Satyancha Nritancha Satyam Abhavat. Like that. Even in Taittiriya also the Sat and Tyat has been talked about as Satyam. Same thing here. So Satyam means not really what you understand as reality. So here Dvaitins will be disappointed. So Upanishad is going to now talk about how all this pranaha, the Stula Sukshma Sharira and all whatever constituents of it, they are all Sat and Tyat. That has to be now explained. Iti cha vaktavyam. It has to be explained. Iti pancha bhutanam satyanam karya karanatmakanam swarupa avadharanartham idam brahmanam arabhyate. So Bhashyakara says this new brahmana, the third brahmana, is being started to show the swarupa, the nature of the five bhutas, because everything is made up of the pancha bhutas. The Stula Sukshma Sharira, Stula Sukshma Prapancha itself. Okay, if you take at the individual level, the Stula and Sukshma Sharira is there. Gross and subtle body, physical body, and all the sense organs and mind. Okay, at the total level also it is the same thing. There is a physical world, and then the totality of all the sense organs and the mind, which is the total Sukshma Sharira. Now all of them are Karya of the Pancha Bhutas only, five Bhutas. Now what is the nature of this Bhuta? Because it has also been called as Satya. Bhashyakara again points out here. Karya Karanatmakanam. They are both Karya and Karana. Karya means this physical body is called Karya, and all the sense organs and mind are called Karana. So those which are in the form of Karya and Karana, their Swarupa has to be now ascertained. Swarupa Avadharanartham. idam brahmanam arabhyate. So this brahmana is being started by understanding the swarupa of these panchabhutas. Only we will understand how this sthula sukshma sharira can be called as satyam. Okay. So in that context, again Bhashyakara, what does he say? Yad upadi vishesha apanaya dwarena neti neti iti brahmanaha satatvam nirdharayishitam. Okay, so it is starting by which what it is trying to accomplish. The Upanishad is trying to now show you the nature of Brahman, which is free from all upadis. By removing all the upadis from Brahman, Brahman has to be shown as it is. It has to be revealed to you as it is. And how is it going to reveal that? The most famous Neti Neti is coming in this Brahmana only. 2, 3, 6. Later on we'll see. So Neti Neti is the Apavada. Till now everything is Adhyaropa. So this is the classic Adhyaropa Apavada which is used to reveal the nature of Brahman. Because without doing this deliberate superimposition or Adhyaropa, you cannot account for the world which is being perceived, correct? The world, the body, mind, sense complex, which are all being perceived, have to be accounted for. Even though Brahman is the one which is to be revealed, while revealing Brahman, we have to account for the subject-object duality, the objective world out there, the subject who is supposed to be present within this body. These two things have to be accounted for. That is why initially all these things are shown as coming from this Brahman alone, which is the Karana, and these are Karya and Karana. Okay, that is why Karya Karana Sanghata it is called. It is a compound or collection of Karya and Karana. Karana is Brahman, understand that. But since these two are Karya and Karana, they become Mithya. And Brahman is not anything Mithya. Brahman is Satyam alone. Sadeva Satyam. Okay, so Neti Neti also has to be said, because whatever you see, it cannot be Brahman, because Brahman cannot be any one object. If it becomes any one object, then it cannot be Ananta, it cannot be limitless, it cannot be the infinite. Similarly, it cannot be an object of your mind also. It cannot be an object of any one cognition. It cannot be the meaning of any one word also. That is why the Upanishad itself says, Yato vacho nivartante apraapya manasa saha. From where words and mind, everything come back. Why? Because you cannot objectify this Brahman with your mind, or you cannot indicate it as the meaning of any one particular word. Okay, that means what? It is something mystic or what? It is only to say that it is not an object. Understand that. If you negate all the objects as Neti, 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 what is left? It is very clear, correct? There is nothing mystic about this. You negate all the objects, what is left is the negator alone. Understand that. In fact, the very nature of negator is Brahman. It is you only. And again, the status of being negator also is Mithya, because once you have negated everything, what is the use of the negator? Negator also goes away in that. Understand that. And Brahman alone is there. That is the teaching. That is the overall methodology, in fact. You deliberately superimpose, that is called Adhyaropa. Then you use the Apavada, you negate everything. And by that you have negated both subject and object. What is left is only the conscious being, which is the basis for both subject and object. So that is how it is taught here. So even Bhashyakara will make a mention of that. We will see here. So to show this Brahman, the nature of this Brahman as the one which is free from all conditioning factors, all upadis, only this Brahmana itself is started. Okay, and there Brahman, but when it starts, it says there are two rupas for this Brahman. Okay, so that's what Tatra Dvirupam Brahma Panchabhuta Janita Karya Karana Sambaddham Murta Murtakhyam Martya Mrita Swabhavam Tad Janita Vasana Rupam Cha Sarvajnam Sarvashakti Sopakhyam Bhavati. So there are two ways we can look at this Brahman, two forms, so to speak. Form means not really it is having a form. That also Bhashyakara will give a different meaning. Rupyate, Rupa, Dvirupam, correct? The Rupam he is giving meaning here, Rupyate Yabhyam Arupam Param Brahma, by which this Arupam, the formless Brahman is revealed, is called a Rupa, correct? Not it is really a form or anything which is sticking on Brahman. No. It is only a means through which we know that. So that by which it is revealed means only through this Jagat, which is having both form and formless, we understand Brahman. So here two rupas. One is what? This Brahman itself is the one which has created all these five bhutas, Pancha Bhuta Janita Karya Karana Sambaddham, and which is connected to the Karya and Karana which has come out from the Pancha Bhutas, correct? Sambaddham means which is connected, and also which is in the form of Murta and Amurta. Murta means which has form or which is tangible. Amurta means something which is intangible, formless. Then Martya, Amrita Swabhavam. Martya means that which is perishable. Amrita means it is at least relatively imperishable. So for example, even the physical body is perishable. We all know that. But the mind, subtle body is not perishable. In fact, it takes another body, it takes another body. In fact, only during the Mahapralaya, mind again resolves into the Karana. Okay, so that way the Sukshma Sharira is Amrita, correct? But the physical body is Martya, it is perishable. Then Tad Janita Vasana Rupam Cha, and again, because it is having all these characteristics, there are also impressions born out of all these things. Okay, and characteristics. Sarvajnam, all knowing, Sarvashakti, all powerful. Sopakhyam means that which has qualities, Sagunam. So like this Brahman, one Rupa is this. And Kriya Karaka Phalatmakam cha Sarva Vyavaharaspadam. And again, this, when you look at Brahman through this world, through the Pancha Bhutas, then it can also be looked upon as something which is having action, factors of action and the results of action. All these things are also there. In fact, it is the basis for our locus for all the transactions which are taking place. Brahman is the basis or the locus or the adhisthana, okay, where all these transactions, this entire transactional world is based on this Brahman. But in reality, how is this Brahman? Tadeva Brahma Vigata Swarvopadi Vishesham. It is free from all upadis in reality. Samyak Darshana Vishayam. It is the object to be known properly, okay, to be seen. It is the one which has to be seen if you want freedom from all the limitations. In fact, in reality, it is unborn, Ajaram, Amritam, undying, Abhayam, fearless. Why? Because there is no second thing. There is no Bhaya Karana. Dvitiya Dvai Bhayam Bhavati, we saw already in the same Upanishad. So there is no Dvitiya. So there is no Bhaya Karana. Abhayam Pratishtam Vindate. Taittiriya Upanishad also talks about Abhaya. Then Vang Manasayoho Api Avishayam. That's what I told you also. That which is not an object of the word and the mind. It cannot be an object of anything. Okay, because it is aprameya. It is not an object of any means of knowledge. It is not an object of any cognition. And it is non-dual advaitatva. Neti neti iti nirdishyate. It is being shown, revealed as not this, not this, not this, because all objects have to be negated. That doesn't mean then there is no truth. What is to be known is it is not any of these objects. In fact, it is all these objects. In one way, if you see, all objects are also Brahman only. But it is not any one object, so we have to negate all of them and also negate the negator. And what is then left out is the subject or the very nature of the negator is Brahman, very Swarupa of the one who is saying Neti Neti, that is Brahman. So it is always eternal subject, you can say. But its status of being subject also is dependent on object. Once all objects are negated, then the status of being a subject also is gone, correct? It is there as it is. That's all we can say. So that Brahman alone has to be revealed now. So that is why how it is revealed, Bhashyakara is talking here. Tatra yad apohadvarena neti neti iti nirdishyate brahma te ete dve vava shabdaha avadharanarthaha dve eva iti arthaha brahmanaha paramatmanaha rupe rupyate yabhyam arupam param brahma avidya adhyaropabhyam avidya adhyaropyamanabhyam. Okay, actually now from here, this is the introduction part. Then here Bhashyakara is now gliding into the actual verse here or the Vakya. So here Dve Vava Brahmanaha Rupe. So there are two forms of Brahman. Vava means indeed, two alone are the forms. What are those two forms? Murtancha, Amurtancha. Okay, gross and subtle, tangible, intangible. Then Martyancha, Amritancha, mortal, immortal, perishable, imperishable. Sthitancha, Yatcha. Okay, Sthitham means something which is there in one place. Yat means that which goes all over, which is pervading everywhere. And finally, very interesting or important for us is Satcha, Tyacha. So this Sat and Tyat only becomes Satyam, which we will see. Okay. So like this, different terminologies are being introduced. Now that's what Bhashyakara here he is saying, to show or reveal this Brahman. By negation only it can be revealed really. So yad apohadvarena means that which has to be revealed through negation. Okay, neti neti iti nirdishyate brahma. So through negation, which is neti neti, not this, not this. By negating not this, not this, the Brahman which is being revealed, that Brahman has only two. Okay, two forms. So Vava Shabdaha Avadharanarthaha he says. Vava Shabda means, Vava means it is emphasis or it is saying with certainty it is saying, okay, in an ascertained manner. Vava Shabdaha Avadharanarthaha means Dve Eva iti arthaha. Only there are only two forms of Brahman. Only two forms are there. What are they? Okay, again the forms. What do we mean by forms also? Bhashyakara here. Brahmanaha Paramatmanaha Rupe. So the Brahman which is Paramatma, its Rupa are only two. And what do we mean by Rupa? Rupa means not some form. Like again here our Dvaitins and Vishishta Dvaitins will take Rupa means what? Shankam, Chakram and all you are having. That is Paramatma in Vaikunta or Golok Vrindavan. No, not like that. Here Rupe means Rupyate Yabhyam, by which this formless Brahman is revealed. Okay, it is indicated, it is shown. That is the meaning of Rupa here, not a form which is sticking onto the Paramatma. So Rupyate Yabhyam Arupam Param Brahma. And again, whatever all these forms which we are talking about also, they are what? Avidya, adhyaropyamanabhyam. They are all only superimposed due to avidya. Okay. So they are not there in reality. There is no, in ultimate reality, there is no forms or anything, names, forms, nothing is there. All these things are there only in the avidya dasha, and they are all superimposed due to avidya alone. So even the shastra vyavahara also is only due to avidya. Understand that. Laukika vyavahara, we say, worldly affairs are all there because of avidya. In fact, there even Dvaitins and Vishishtadvaitin, I think Vishishtadvaitin also they accept that. Interestingly, okay, they even accept that you are taking yourself as the body, mind, sense complex by mistake. There also they accept up to that point. So viparita bhavana or erroneous knowledge is there. They also say because you are in reality only the conscious jiva. You are the conscious being alone. There all up to that, all the Dvaitins, Vishishtadvaitins, Advaitins, all of them say jiva is conscious being. Then where is the problem? But this conscious jiva is a separate reality. The world, body, mind, sense, complex, everything is a separate reality. This is more like Sankhya. Sankhya also is saying the same thing. Okay, there is a Purusha, there is a Prakriti, both are equally real. But Purusha has identity with the Prakriti and it is suffering. Then what is moksha means? You have to now withdraw yourself, still your mind, and then that is moksha. The Purusha should not identify with the Prakriti, but Prakriti also is equally real. It is not mithya. So most Dvaita and Advaita also, sorry, Vishishtadvaita also, they are all one form of, they are all using all these arguments from Sankhya, Nayayika, all these people only. But the important thing is what? Advaita only is taught by the Shastra. Shastra is negating all Dvaita. It is doing Ninda of Dvaita. And it is showing Brahman is Advaitam, Ekameva Advitiyam. Even after the Shastra is showing it so clearly, these other people, somehow they try to show that Brahman is, and it is totally illogical, correct? If you say Brahman is infinite, Brahman is all pervading, Brahman is limitless, but Brahman is different from you, the individual conscious being, then Brahman is limited by you only then. So that is the problem. So anyway, so all this Dvaita Vyavahara is there only in Avidya. It is all superimposed due to Avidya. In that, the Guru Shishya Vyavahara also is included. Shastra Vyavahara also is included. Even the studying of Shastra also is part of this same Vyavahara only. So now, further what? Kete Dve. Which are these two Rupas? Means Murtancha, Amurtam. So Murtancha Eva means Murtam Eva cha, Bhashyakara says. So one is Murta and another is Tata Amurtancha, Amurtam Eva cha. So only two are there. One is Murta, Murta only, Amurta only. Like that we have to understand two forms. So Murta means, you can say, I told you already, gross, tangible. And Amurta means subtle, intangible. Now, having said there are only two forms, Upanishad goes on to say Martyam, Amritam, Stitam, Yat, Sat, Tyat, and all that, correct? That's why, Bhashyakara, see, Bhashyakara is very, very observant. This is what amazes me. So he now makes a point here, he is saying, you should not say that now Upanishad is contradicting itself. It said only two forms, but now it has listed 8 names here. So he is now giving commentary. अंतर्नीत स्वात्म विशेषणे मूर्ता मूर्ते द्वे एव इति अवधार्येते. So this Murta and Amurta only is further being talked about as through other adjectives or qualities. Okay, that's what he is now pointing out here. Therefore, only two, Murta and Amurta. Others are all only further subdivisions, you can say. Okay, the major categorization is Murta and Amurta. In fact, this Brahmana itself is known as Murta Murta Brahmanam. All other categorization are all only subclassifications within this. Therefore, the original two classifications remain. There is no doubt about it, because Dve Vava Rupe was said. So keeping that in mind, he is saying this. Okay. So Kani Punastani Visheshanani Murta Murtayoho iti uchyante. So now all the other things are only Visheshanas of this Murta and Amurta. That's how Bhashyakara presents. Therefore, these two things only is maintained. What are those? Martyancha. Martyam means what? Marana dharmi. So that which can be, that which dies, which perishes. Amritancha tad viparitam, which is opposite to that which perishes or imperishable, relatively imperishable, as I told. Then sthitam. Sthitam cha means what? Parichinnam. Sthitam means that which is limited. And gati purvakam yet sthasnu means that which moved but then became stationary, becomes stationary. That moves, but after movement also it becomes stationary. It is there only in one place. But wind and sky, the akasha, space, etc. are not like that, correct? They are there everywhere. That is called yat, yati iti yat. So that which is there everywhere, that which moves everywhere, that is called yat here. Normally yat has a different meaning, correct? As a pronoun. Means vyapi, that which pervades, aparichinnam, so that which pervades everywhere. And which is sthita viparitam, it is not there in one place. It pervades everywhere. That is the idea here. That is called yat. So sthitam and yat. In fact, all these things are sub-classifications of Murta and Amurta only. We'll see how it is. That will also be talked about. Then finally, Sat cha. Sad means what? Sad iti anyebhyaha visheshyamana asadharana dharma visheshavat. So sad means what? That which is visheshyamana means what? An asadharana dharma is Bhashyakara says. So it is some that the things which have some specific characteristics, okay, and which can be known through pratyaksha. Because Anandagiri comes to our rescue here. He says Visheshyamana means Pratyakshena Upalabhyamana. Like that, Anandagiri is giving tika here. So that which is the objects which have characteristics, specific characteristics, which can be known through sense perception. That is the meaning of this. Such objects are all called sat. Correct? And tyat means what? Means it cannot be known. For example, mind. Physical body can be known because it has all these characteristics which can be perceived through your sense organs. Mind cannot be perceived like that. Mind can be inferred only. That is why even many people are that inference also is not very strong. Many modern scientists do not accept that there is a mind itself. They say everything is only brain, because brain can be seen. Brain is sat, mind is tyat, it cannot be seen. So there is, even amongst the modern scientists also, there is no one view about mind. Whether there is a mind or not itself, they don't come to an agreement. But there is a whole study of the mind anyway, it is there, psychology and all that. Okay. But anyway, so tyat means tad viparitam tyat ityeva sarvada paroksha abhidhanarham. See, tyat means that is always, it can only be known indirectly. Okay, paroksha abhidanarham. It can be only named or indicated or known in an indirect manner. Cannot be directly known through the sense organs. That is tyat. So now this murta and amurta only is either perishable or imperishable. They themselves are either stationary or all pervading, and also that is having specific characteristics which can be known through sense perception, or objects which can only be indirectly known, which can never be directly known through sense perception. So like this, Upanishad has given us certain classifications. So this body, this Stula Sukshma Sharira also now will be shown as Murta and Amurta only. And finally, Brahman will be shown as Neti Neti. It is not any of these things. Both Murta and Amurta will be negated. Along with that, this Pranaha, which are all called Satyam, that Satyam itself is Sat and Tyat, as I told you, because physical body is Sat, Sukshma Sharira or the subtle body is Tyat. That is why it is called Satyam. That Satyam is the Prana, and Pranasya Satyam is the Brahman. Brahman alone is really Satyam. These things are all, they are all negated by saying Neti Neti. So that is how the teaching works. Adhyaropa Apavada is done here by the Shruti. So now next Vakya. What is that? Now the Murta is being defined here. Tad etan Murtam yad anyad vayoscha antarikshacha etan martyam etat sthitam etat sat tasya etasya murtasya etasya martyasya etasya sthitasya etasya sataha yesha rasaha yesha tapati sataha hi yesha rasaha. Like that, see, this Murta and Amurta has to be shown both at the individual level and at the totality, Samashti. Okay, Vyashti and Samashti, in both we have to show. No, that's what, then only you can account for the entire world, correct? That's what the Upanishad is doing here beautifully. So now when it's talking about this Murta, so this is Murta. And what is this Murta? That which is tangible or which is having a form and all that, means it is defining it as that which is other than Vayu and Antariksha or the space. Okay, Akasha and Vayu. Because from Agni only you have form, correct, which can be perceived through your sense organs. So Agni onwards form is there. So Agni, Apaha, Prithvi, these are all Murta Dravya. So these are all substances which have form, which can be perceived through sense organs. So the Upanishad is saying, Yad Anyad Vayo cha Antariksha cha, that which is other than Vayu and Antariksha, the wind and space, that is all Murta. And this Murta itself is what? It is Martya. Okay, it is perishable. Anything which form with form can is perishable, because then form starts decaying and all the form starts changing. And also it is limited, because the form itself is there only in one place. It only occupies some limited space. So it is Sthitam. And it is also Sat, because since it has a form, it has specific characteristics which can be cognized through your sense organs. And what is the nature of all this Murta? Whatever is Murta is also Martya, it is also Sthita, it is also Sat. So of all these things, what is the Rasa? Yeshaha Rasaha. What is the essence or the nature of all these things? Means that is the one which burns, it says. Yesha tapati. Okay. Sataha hi yesha rasaha. So this, the one who burns, Who is the one who is burning? Means this sun only, Aditya Devata. Okay, sun is the one who burns, because, and sun is the essence of everything which can be known through Sataha hi Esha Rasaha. So Yesha Tapati, the one who burns the sun, is indeed the essence of all these things, because the first bhuta which is cognizable through sense organs is Agni, correct? So here the sun itself is the one which is the essence or nature of everything which can be seen, which can be cognized with a form, which is tangible. So like that the Upanishad is presenting here. Now let us see the Bhashya quickly. Tatra chatushtaya visheshana vishishtam murtam tata amurtancha. So this both murta and amurta are having 4 visheshanas or characteristics. Okay. So they are all qualified or characterized by 4 characteristics. What are they? That's what we saw there, correct? Martya, Sthita, Sat and all that. So that Bhashyakara will show that. Tatra kani murta visheshanani kani cha itarani iti vibhajyate. So now Upanishad is now showing you separately what are all the characteristics of murta and what are the 4 characteristics of amurta. Vibhajyate means it is showing separately. So here tad etan murtam murchita avayavam means murtam means what? Bhashyakara means no. Murchita avayavam. Murchita means that which is well defined, you can say. Okay, solidified, something like that. So that the parts are all well defined, solidified, easily cognizable. Also, itara anupravishta avayavam. The parts are all put together in such a manner that they are into each other. Okay, like the nut and the bolt. The nut enters the bolt. You can say, correct? They are anupravishtam. Itara anupravishtam. One enters the other. Or they are interlocking kind of pieces, parts. So the parts which are well defined and which are again put together. And ghanam, he says. Ghanam again means solid. Okay. Samhatam. Samhatam means actually put together. Compound. So murtam means all these things, he says. That which is having a well defined, solidified form, which has parts which are interconnected, or and then which is again solid and a compound. Then what is this murta? Still, kim tat, Upanishad itself says, yad anyat, that which is different. Kasmad anyat, from what it is different. Vayoscha antarikshacha bhutadvayat. So that which is different from the 2 Panchamahabhutas, which is Vayu and Akasha. Correct? Antariksha here means Akasha. Parisheshat Prithivyadi Bhutatrayam. So by leftover means what? Only Panchabhutas are there. If you say it is other than these 2, then basically it means the other 3, which is Agni, Apaha and Prithivi. So Prithivyadi Bhutatrayam, the 3 Bhutas, Panchamahabhutas, starting from Prithivi, are the ones which are Murta. And these things, what are they then? Etan Martyam, Yed Etan Murtakyam, Bhutatrayam, Idam Martyam, Maranadharmi. So these 3 which are Murta are also having this Maranadharma, means they have the quality of getting destroyed, dying, decaying. Kasmat, why? Because of what? Means Yasmat Sthitam Etad, because now he is connecting Bhashyakara. Because they are limited to only one place, correct? That itself is the reason for them becoming Marana Dharma, because they are limited to one particular space-time coordinate, you can say. So because they are Sthitam or Parichinnam, he says. Sthitam means what? Parichinnam. Hi Arthantarena. samprayujyamanam viruddhyate. So that which is limited only, that can be opposed by something else again, correct? Which is also limited. Arthantarena samprayujyamanam viruddhyate, it is opposed or it can be destroyed by something else. Whatever is limited can be destroyed, like a gata can be destroyed with some stick or some other rod or whatever, correct? So like this, Bhashyakara is trying to explain how the Murta is also Martya, and Martya, it is Martya because it is Sthita or it is limited. Okay, anyway, so we'll continue this next week. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
धन्यवाद.